Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Scott from MuscularStrength.com, and today we're going to be talking about some of the disgusting things that's going on in the fitness world, especially with YouTube fitness and competing. And you know, it used to be that I could just make a video talking about who's natty and who's fake natty and who's giving good information or bullshit information for views on Instagram and YouTube. Now all of a sudden we get to talk about who's beating and raping women and who's not. These are some pretty serious allegations, and these allegations are against people that are winning titles, have a huge following, lots of people looking up to them, and it's like, who are we looking up to? Who are we idolizing, paying all kinds of money to? Companies are sponsoring. It's like, we need to do a moral, like, screw Natty Verify. We need a morals and values check now before we start giving anybody anything. And you know, obviously you guys know the big three everyone's talking about. Sean Roden, Jeremy Buendia, and Larry Wheels. These are all the allegations that are coming out right now. And I'm going to focus on Larry Wheels for this video, guys, because, well, the main reason is for Sean, from what I've understood, at first he had a bail. He was accused of rape, and at first his bail was like $750,000, and then some new evidence came out, and it got reduced by about $500,000. And there doesn't really seem to be a lot of evidence coming out there yet. And that's going to be a key term for this video. It's going to be evidence, because I don't want to just start throwing people under the bus, because the internet has a mind of its own, and people tend to want to talk about things that are disgusting and bad because they're fun to talk about. So, you know, a story starts off maybe with a few minor facts and details, and then over the course of like an hour of being on the internet, all of a sudden you have a million other variations of the story and not all the facts and all the details. So we'll get into all that. But you know, for Sean, the amount of money for him to post bail went down. Cool. Maybe some information came out, but he's still banned from bodybuilding, as far as I know, from competing. And then with Jeremy, I mean, it's a lot different than with Larry. Right now, for Larry, all we have is that voice recording from his ex-girlfriend. But with Jeremy, it's multiple women coming forward, photos, police report. Like, there's a lot more evidence there. Now, I'm still not gonna throw him under the bus, because I'm not judge and jury here. I'm not there seeing all of the evidence. But it seems like with him, maybe there was some beatings happening. But moving on to Larry, I watched the video, guys, and you know, I want to say something not to offend you, but from my perspective, I've been through a lot in my life. I've seen a lot, like I've done a lot. I have a lot of real world experience, no pun intended. This isn't a laughing video, but I'm sorry. You know, I listened to her video, and to me it just sounds like a super heated argument between two people in a relationship that is, we'll say, very passionate. And I say that because I really can't wrap my head around how you can stay in a relationship with someone who you're telling me has cheated on you since basically day one, and you stay with them for 5 years. You know, there must be some underlying tones that we don't see here. Why, like, I wouldn't stay with a chick that cheated on me since day one. It's like, at that point, it comes down to self-worth. Am I worth more than being with somebody who's gonna cheat on me and treat me like shit? Like, so there must be some underlying tones or some deep connection and some love that I just don't understand. I wouldn't let a chick cheat on me for 5 years. I would just bounce, and I'd say, see you later. That's just me. So her side of the story, initially, to me, as soon as she says that, loses a bit of credibility. I'm like, oh, he's been cheating on you for 5 years, but yet you guys are still together. So clearly there's some kind of bond there that I don't know. Also, the recording itself, and Kenny KO made a video on this, and he really went off on Larry, and he's calling him all kinds of names, and rightfully so if it's true. But, you know, my wife and I were listening to the voice recording, and yeah, there was a lot of, it sounded like some scuffling, maybe some moving around. There was a lot of screaming, a lot of yelling, you know, the girl screaming, leave me alone, whatever. And my wife even said to me, she's like, this lady knows that she's recording herself. It's very easy for you to kind of act a bit more in the moment because you know you're recording. And at one point in the video, she told Larry, I'm recording the whole thing. I mean, if Larry was capable of punching her with closed fists, as she said, and with him having such a big audience and being super famous, and knowing that something like this could ruin his career, I mean, not to sound like a bad person, but if I was Larry, I'd take that phone and snap it in half and be like, now you have no recording. So, you know, and also too in the video, if he's hitting her with closed fists and she's saying, don't hit me, I was waiting to hear like a, you know, I mean, that's me punching my hand very lightly. I was waiting to hear something like that of him actually putting hands on her. I didn't hear it. So clearly there was an issue, and then there was like a text message in there of them talking to each other, and she was talking about how he like dragged her out of bed and was choking her and all this other stuff, which could very well be true, guys. But at the end of the day, it sounds like the kind of it just sounds like a very volatile relationship where you're hearing one side of the story. You don't know what she did to instigate or what he did to instigate. You don't know if she hit him and he grabbed her to stop her, or maybe he did just choke her out. I don't know. But all I'm saying is, you know, we need to hear more of the evidence in the story. And me personally, just hearing somebody scream on a recording isn't enough to convince me that all this shit went down. All right? There just needs to be more evidence around this. And I'm coming from a place of where my wife and I, as you guys know, we've been dealing with a psycho stalker for like 2 years. We're currently, you know, we have an open court case right now in Miami, Florida with this person. And the only reason why it hasn't closed yet is because she fled the country to her home country of Argentina, where she continues to relentlessly harass and stalk my wife and do all kinds of stuff. You guys can go to my wife's channel, Erica's Girly World, to check it out, and you can kind of see all the details of that. I don't want to get into them into this video, but the point of this is, this woman has managed to convince so many people of terrible things about my wife that are completely not true. And so it's really easy for me to kind of look at a situation like this and see, you know, there could be some manipulation happening, because some of the things that people are saying about my wife, saying she's a terrorist and a scammer, and you know, she does fashion blogging, and they're saying that all her stuff is fake, and, you know, oh, she sold me a fake bag once. My wife doesn't sell bags. Like, all this crazy stuff, and it just snowballs, and people believe it because they just want to believe a juicy story, and they want to talk about it. So, with Larry, I mean, I just made a video talking about how he's a great guy. Like, oh, he seems like a really good dude, you know, and he's breaking PIs all the time. And it's like, well, maybe he's not such a good dude. We're going to have to wait for him to come out with his side of the story. But I feel like you guys really need to take a step back, especially if you're young. Like, you really need to take a step back and analyze all of the information. You know, with Sean, why was the bail reduced $500,000? You know what I mean? And rape is a hard thing to prove. And it almost seems like a lot of these women are coming out now, similar, like, in troves, similar to how it was for the Me Too movement. And the Me Too movement as well, there's a lot of bullshit there. And what I mean by that is, if somebody is like, hey, if you want to be in this movie, all you got to do is have sex with me, and then you decide to have sex with them, that was your choice. You know, like, yeah, it sucks, yeah, it's stupid, yeah, it shouldn't happen, but you had the opportunity to walk away from that, you know? As you guys know, I used to model in New York, and I was trying to get into the entertainment industry, and I've had creepo photographers, and they're like, hey, how bad do you want this Louis Vuitton job? I'm like, not that bad. See you later. That's why you guys never saw me in Louis Vuitton. Like, yeah, that shit happens. But at the end of the day, you always have a choice, right? So what's really going on? Are these women coming forward, trying to take advantage? I mean, it seemed like their relationship was on the downfall. And I mean, there's a saying, there's nothing scarier or more dangerous than a scorned woman. Like, this saying exists for a reason. And from the looks to me, she's feeling pretty scorned. So maybe this is her last-ditch attempt to attack him. And with the relationship being so volatile, basically since it started, this might even be an underlying way of her, like, she still loves him, but she doesn't want to be with him, but she wants to do something. Like, I don't know. Like I said, I'm just looking from the outside in, but I'm looking at it from a different perspective than from the majority of people who are just hearing this recording. And I don't know, guys, like, steroids are a hell of a drug. Okay? They make you do some crazy things. So whether or not he put hands on her, or Jeremy put hands on this chick, or Sean, you know, did some raping, unfortunately, the steroids involved could be a big part of that. Obviously, they alter how you act and how you feel, so that's why they're dangerous. You know, it's a choice you make. And does everybody who does that and everybody who competes act this way? No. I don't think that we should start shaming the entire fitness community based on the actions of a few of these different people, but we have to start kind of like calling out facts for facts and truths for truths. And there are things that can happen. What's the word I'm looking for? There are consequences to your actions based on what you're doing and drugs that you're taking. And unfortunately, anger and, you know, heat of the moment anger is one of those things that happens with steroid abuse. So it's just a very touchy subject, and like I said, I could be completely wrong, and Larry's ex-girlfriend could be 100% truthful. I'm just saying I am going to wait until more evidence comes out before I really start crucifying people, just because when I was younger, I used to just take things at face value, and that was that. But now that I'm older and I've kind of been through some shit, especially with my psycho stalker in Miami, I kind of feel for people now, I guess is what I mean. Like, to feel powerless in a situation like this is terrible. And at the end of the day, whether you're guilty or not, as soon as somebody starts saying you raped me, you beat me, that's gonna stay with you forever. You know, whether it's true or not, people are always gonna, oh, Larry Wheels, yeah, I heard he beat his girlfriend and put her in the hospital and choked her out and all that stuff. And those could all be false, but people don't tend to follow a story until the very end. They just follow all the juicy bits, and then they move on to the next story and read all those juicy bits, and then move on to the next story. They never really stay for the conclusion. You usually don't find out what happens until somebody tells you, because maybe 3 people decided to figure out what actually happened. So I don't want to ramble too much. I just want to say, you know what, guys? There's a lot of crap happening in the fitness industry right now. At this point, being natty or not doesn't even matter. The kind of person that you are is what's going to matter. And I feel like if you're going to look up to somebody, you need to keep an open mind. You shouldn't just look up to somebody because they look great and they can lift a lot of weight. Like, they need to have integrity. And to be honest with you guys, that's why I never really got into sports when I was a kid. A lot of people ask me, because I'm from Boston, they're like, oh, you must be a Red Sox fan, or you must, you know, love the Patriots or the Celtics or whatever. I'm like, honestly, dude, when I was young and all the other kids in school were so pumped talking about, you know, who could throw the best football, or who was the best running back, or who scored the most points in a basketball game, even at a young age, I was like, whoop-de-frickin-do, you can throw a ball. Congratulations. Captain America can protect, you know, 13 people at once while carrying somebody injured on his back and deflecting bullets with his shield. Like, there's some integrity right there, somebody trying to protect other people. Now, Captain America might not be a real person, but the morals and values he lives by are very relatable, especially to me at that age. So, some food for thought. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe. Obviously, more great content coming soon. And I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.